Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Farmer's Voice podcast on the Meet My Neighbor channel. October's been a pretty busy month for Meet My Neighbor Productions, but Shauna and I wanted to take a few moments and recognize some women who are really working on the front lines of food security and making sure that we all have fresh meats on our plates. Over the past several years, as you know, there have been a lot of challenges when it comes to meat production, and including the prices that you're paying at the grocery store. So the efforts of these women to open processing plants or to partnership with others in these processing plants to keep their doors open is essential to our food security. It's an essential program. All of these women have worked with the USDA Technical Assistance Program at the Flower Hill Institute with Dave Carter and Chris Roper, friends of ours, and they've done an exceptional job with bringing fresh meats to their customers while also keeping the market open to farmers. Every single one of these women own at least 50% or more of their processing facilities. And so this is also an opportunity to just express gratitude for women in agriculture who are making a difference during October, which is a month to recognize women in business. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy some of these podcasts. Today's podcast will be with Danielle of Clark's Custom Meats. What made you decide to go into meat processing?
The Lord did. So, just to give a little background to why we are here today, the previous owners who started Clark's 21 years ago, Butch and Trina Clark, did it out of their home. It was just processing at the time, and God blessed them, and they grew and they purchased the property that they now have the shop at 59 Highway. And as that continued to grow and life changed for them, they actually felt called into the local ministry in some realm, shape, or form in St. Joe, that they did what they could, but they just felt like they needed more time to dedicate towards that. But in the same respect, never wanted to leave Clark's without a legacy plan and a transition phase. So they didn't just want to sell it to anybody. They didn't just want to have it cease to exist. That was their baby at the end of the day of what they started. And they wanted to make sure they took care of the employees and the farmers and everybody involved, right? So at that time in Columbia, Missouri, which is where me and my family lived, we had one little boy at the time. We were getting tugged on our hearts to do something different. Had no idea what that looked like. Fair warning, if you pray for a door to be open, just expect that that door is going to be probably not at all what you imagined, but it's absolutely what you needed. So lo and behold, the Clarks went to church with my in-laws, and they had a conversation over coffee one day about needing some help at the shop, but particularly wanting help with transitioning to another couple, ideally, that would buy Clarks, and they'd allow them to step out and do what they felt called to do. So that coffee date led to my husband and I meeting with them. And I left that initial meeting choked up in tears about the fact that I was very closed off to this idea going into it. Full transparency. I actually laughed when they told me that this was the opportunity that we were going to discuss with them. And we sat down and talked with them. And the funny part is their two personalities matched up so similarly to my husband and I. It was kind of crazy. But she made a comment at one point. She used to work in the healthcare field like myself. And she said that she moved out of that space and into processing with her husband because she'd always wanted to work with him. And I was almost mad at the fact that that was the only thing she could have said to me that was going to open up my heart to the fact that this was the next step and the door that I've been praying for. And I'm not going to get choked up about that, but that was it. I mean, that was the moment that I said, okay, God, we'll do it. So I think it was probably within 6 months of that meeting, we moved our family back to St. Joe, which is actually where we're both from. We were born and raised here. All of our family is here. And we started working for them, really just to learn the ropes and figure out if this was going to be as good of a fit for them as it was for us. And thank the Lord, we had great grant people and finances through the SBA program that we were able to make it work financially. So in March of last year, 2023, we were able to actually buy it, and they got to phase out, and they're now heavily involved in the local ministry. And here we are figuring out the meat shop realm.
So what was your previous work?
And I still am, a registered dietitian nutritionist. So I graduated from Mizzou in 2017 and started actually working at a local WIC agency there in Columbia. I loved it, and it was all involved with pregnant women, kiddos, babies. But again, I really felt probably a few years into it that God had something different and bigger plans, and we had no idea what that was at the time, but apparently it was in the meat industry.
So before that, you had no experience with agriculture. What was your experience working with animals?
Next to none, which is such the comical part about it that I would have never jumped into this without truly seeing every door and obstacle opened up and ready for us. But as close as I and any of my husband had in this, meat agriculture realm was the fact that, we both had grandparents raised on farms, and we both had this obsession with meat and nutrition. All of our early married and dating years were absolutely involved around watching meat videos, cooking different meats, or going to restaurants specifically to try weird and meats. So that was how a hobby obsession, I guess, paved the way and opened the door to be where we are now.
Working in the meat processing business, how has that changed your view of farm animals in general? I mean, everybody has different views. You've never raised them, but then you kind of stepped into that role. How has it impacted your impressions?
Wow is the first word that comes to mind. It is night and day. And like, not even as a meat shop owner, as a person, I cannot believe that I went as long as I did without having access to farm fresh meat. It is a game changer. Like, I can tell night and day what's, hamburger was made with farm fresh stuff versus not. In a nice way, I'm kind of a snob now, right? Like, I won't get hamburger or steaks at other restaurants, or if I have the choice, I'm going to get chicken or fish if I'm out to eat. But otherwise at home, like, it's the stuff we're getting from our farmers, because I truly can taste the difference and speak to the quality of it. And, at the end of the day, people need to do what they need to do to feed their families. And that's wonderful, no matter what that looks like. But for people that are really wanting to care where their meat's coming from, that are wanting the best quality, it's farmers every time.
What's the alternative? Because that's I mean, some people don't know. I mean, there's the memes or whatever about people knowing where their food comes from, and they all come from farms. But can you specify?
No, they don't. They come from the grocery store around here.
Can you specify?
Well, and actually, that's what's crazy now. They actually grow meat in labs now. It's a thing. Like, I'm not even kidding. Or they have the, oh my gosh, what do they call it? The fake meat. I don't know. There's a specific name for it that they call it now. So, I mean, I guess that's a compliment, right? That people are mimicking you, that they're trying to create you in other ways, that even though it's not real. But that is a thing. And so for us, what we try and market and put in people's laps to do with what they want is supporting communities. And that begins with, getting to know your farmer and supporting your farmer and what they do for so many people, and supporting, local businesses like us. Again, at the end of the day, whether that's our facility or somebody else's, I love that people are wanting to go local as much as they can. But we all know that trying to do what you can to support the community you live in and the local businesses, that's going to mean so much more to what that outlook looks like for where you live and, your neighbors and community that it is. So, yeah, I'd love to try and get that message out there to people, that supporting local, not just being a hashtag or a trend, but truly supporting the neighbor down the street, your local butcher shop, your farmers, whatever that looks like.
So you are dietitian nutritionist at the core, as far as what you've invested in yourself prior to this career. What about on your husband's side? You guys are a duo team for this project here. So give us a snapshot into what that looks like and how you are carrying over some of your nutritionist elements into your current business model.
Yeah. So my husband is the person who's handling a lot of the back of the house, day-to-day operation stuff. So he is going to be unloading the cattle that are coming in. He works on the slaughter floor. He works on the cut table. He can do the packaging, and he is the crazy mind behind sausage production. Just to give a slight little insight to that, this is a man who, despite not having that background in meat and agriculture, he's got a stack of books like this high on meat, protein, spices, seasoning blends, cooking, you name it. This guy has dove into everything and anything he can get his hands on, because sausage production and unique recipe curation is his favorite, right? Like that thing that keeps you going, that is him. We spend our weekends and our evenings recipe testing new creative wild things and seeing what can we create to wow customers and blow their minds. What can we create to just be something that brings people in from all over to just make their day and be such a fun, unique product that they can get with Clark's. So that is his realm and side of things. For me, I am definitely the one that's handling the majority of the business side of things, front of the house. So I have been the one to deal with your farmers, calling them to schedule them for their appointments, their drop-offs, getting customer orders and information. I can definitely work and handle the retail front side of things too, and making sure that things are appropriately, presented and stocked, and helping new customers find what they're looking for. But honestly, primarily where my role in my job has been lately is just handling the business operations. So whether that's dealing with hiring new people, training new people, payroll, accounting, handling any of the marketing side of things that go along with it, which is why we're here today, getting to have the chance to talk. I have a lot of my hands in the different business operation hat right now.
So what is it like working with farmers on a business perspective? Are they good professionals to work with?
I love farmers. They're so much fun. I truly, they are the best, right? And what I just experienced that has so humbled me is their ability to accept me into that community despite not having a deep background in it. I loved that I got the opportunity to work hand in hand with them, calling them every week for their appointments and scheduling and getting their customers, and just getting the chance to kind of earn, some camaraderie and relationship with them on that level. And it's been so fun to then get to know them. So we had a couple farmers with birthdays recently, and I love that we're on that side of things where I can text them happy birthday, and, just creating relationship has been so great. The previous owner set that foundation so strongly with me that she knew everybody on a first name basis. She recognized them coming through the front door. She would do everything she could to give them the best experience through the shop. And so that weighed on me heavily to step into, and then train up all of my team to do the same, to make sure that at the end of the day, Clark's is not me, it's everybody. And so making sure that they felt welcome and taken care of when they come to Clark's and they work with us. And if you're ever wondering what hard work looks like, getting to know your farmers and seeing a day in the life of them, that is the route to go. They know what hard work is, and they're some awesome people.
And you even did a series, right, in some of your social media campaigning, highlighting some of your farmers.
Absolutely. My husband had this really cool idea, I think at the beginning of this year, that a goal of ours was to try and partner with some of our farmers that have been with Clark's for years, and just highlight for our customers and their customers where their meat's coming from, giving them the behind the scenes, pulling back the Wizard of Oz curtain to see, okay, what does this look like? So we actually took one of our kids and went to the farm and got the chance to observe, watch what was going on. My father-in-law is an awesome marketing social media guru. And so he's actually the one that created and shot all of those videos with us and gave the chance to the farmers to tell their story. Many of them are, multi-generational. And so we even had some of the farmers, now adult kids hop on the videos and talk about the role they get to play and what it was like to watch, their parents grow up doing what they did. And it is so inspiring to watch, for one. And two, it's just humbling that we get to be a part of that journey for them to create this farm to family experience.
So how many farmers do you come to your shop, do you think?
So we are probably just shy of 200 different farmers between beef, hog, lamb, sheep, goat.
And how important is your business to them? Like, do they have other places that they could easily go?
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, we are not the only processor, nor will we ever be. And I love and respect so many of our neighbor processing plants that they have the option to go to. That being said, obviously, proximity is a really big part of why specific farmers are going to choose to come to us or other places, because it's no easy feat to load a dozen animals into a trailer, or just even one, and bring them somewhere. So the ones that truly are doing an hour or more drive to get to us is so honoring. I mean, I know sometimes that it's dependent on what's available and how soon they can get, animals into places, but that always speaks a lot to me when it's somebody that's coming from a distance to be where they are with us. Another big part that plays into that, actually, for some farmers nowadays, is the fact that there is what they call inspection levels. I'm going to get a little education-ish here on this, but so our plant is what they call USDA or federal inspected, and that's actually new to us. We got approved for that earlier this year, but what that means is that if farmers choose to, they can get their stuff slaughtered and then processed under federal inspection, and then on the label, it gets this little USDA logo legend stating that it can be resold. So it's really opened the door for us to partner with farmers that are looking to partner with schools, restaurants, farmers markets, whatever that looks like, to resell their products at those places. Not every processing plant is going to be federally inspected. In the state of Missouri, you also have Missouri State Inspection, which we were prior to federal. And that just means you can resell those things in the state of Missouri. And then, of course, below that, for processing, you have what they call custom exempt, meaning that it's coming in from a farmer, going directly home to a customer, and it cannot be resold. So that is also going to play into where your farmers are going to choose to go and what purpose it is that they're looking for to grow their business.
Now, you had reflected that part of the culture that you stepped into, as far as the care that was being taken for the farmers, knowing their names, but also the other people you were working among. You said that it was absolutely ingrained in you by Trina that's part of the culture of what you guys were doing there.
So yes, that the whole culture and foundation of relationship first was a really big kind of motto for the team and what she wanted to create there. And what I kind of learned real quick, though, was, it can't just always be me. It can't just always be my husband to know the people and to make people feel special. And that also just never gives me the opportunity to, I guess, step out into other realms, right? So there's working in the business and working on the business. And at some point, it can't just always be me that people are comfortable with, that they only want me to take their orders. And to still maintain that relationship from me is obviously a big deal of it, and always trying to be available as needed. But at the same time, I want them to feel special no matter who they're talking to in the shop, and make sure that we're doing our due diligence to train up everybody to be this reflective image of what quality and relationship and customer service is, across the board. So whether they're coming in on a Monday and getting to talk with Danielle, or they're coming in on a Saturday and getting to talk with one of my, high school or college girls, they know that they're getting Clark's, they're getting the vision and the mission of what we're trying to share with the community. So customer service, top-notch quality, across the board, and training people to have that same message is really been something that we've tried to work on as hard as we can in the best way.
What are some ways that you're plugging into the community?
Yeah. So some of the things we've done to kind of get involved with the community, bring what Clark's and local meat is to others. Um, just a fun thing that happened recently. So again, coming full circle, which is so cool. Trina Clark, previous owner, she is now heavily involved in local ministry with a group called SOS. It stands for Sisters of Solace, and these are women that are getting back on their feet after, abuse, addiction, or incarceration. And they do what they call a mac and cheese fundraiser every fall that different corporations or businesses like ourselves can get involved with and compete for the best mac and cheese. And then they also have the ability for just, anybody to compete at a personal level too and bring grandma's best recipe or whatever that looks like. So we actually had a lot of fun, even though mac and cheese is not like a normal menu thing for us when it comes to those things. One of our team members loves to cook, and she was all too excited to jump in and do this. And I said, let's do it. I will support you in every way and let you handle the mac and cheese. So we got to go out in the community and serve mac and cheese and be a part of this. And that awesome gal took home the victory for us. And, at the end of the day, that's not what it was about. It was the fact that we got to be a part of this fundraiser, support truly the gal that made Clark's and my now ownership in the place possible. And honestly, the joy on our team member's face when her mac and cheese won, that was worth every penny at the end of the day to get to be in there. It was absolutely precious. Other things that we've done as far as, being within the community, every once in a while, we'll go out to events like we have a Renaissance Festival that goes on every year behind our place that we do the turkey legs for, which is always a blast, always chaos, but always a blast. There are competition conferences that go on in the meat world every year for both the state and the national level. And I married a very competitive, very creative soul. And so we go to those conferences to get to meet and learn all these other great processors around, but also get to compete in these competitions and bring all those really cool bratwurst recipes that I was telling you about earlier that he creates throughout the week. And it's been so fun to get to bring home those wins and get our team involved on the excitement and the community behind us. I am humbled at the amount of people that have congratulated, reached out, asked to, share our story, whether that's through newspaper or, the locals news station. And I mean, people have drove from all over outside of the state just to come and try this stuff. And it's been just so fantastic to see, that at play and all of those foundational things get rewarded on such a deep level for our team and our community to be proud of and excited of what businesses are in their town that are doing cool things. So that's been a lot of fun to see those different outside of the normal meat shop operations have a lot of fun with.
As a nutritionist, how important do you think meat is to our diets? And, you said you work for WIC. Do you think that kids in those programs are getting adequate nutrition? Or
Good question. Tough question, but good one. So first off, when it comes to meat in the diet, I definitely think that it's important. I don't think I could be where I'm at as a co-owner of a meat processing plant without, believing that truly on that deeper level. This earth was created with meat sources for protein as well as excellent produce sources. And I'm a full proponent in balance when it comes to diets and everything in moderation. Those were mantras drilled into me in nutrition and dietetics program. And I laughed at it then, knowing that I felt like I just kept repeating that over and over again. But the truth of it, that's exactly what it is. I mean, we are created to both enjoy the quality proteins that we've been blessed with, along with the produce, that the two go together. So I really do think that those two things need to be in balance and in moderation. Now, part two of that is to specifically speak to the WIC program. It is a supplemental nutrition program. So with WIC, it's intended to be a supplement or an addition to those kiddos' diets. which means that right now, as it stands for the nutrition program, it does, dairy, fruits, vegetables, grains, and on the protein side of things, it's not going to have meat included in there. Now, I know from a government standpoint, a lot of that's going to be the finances based, knowing that protein's a lot more of an expensive cut and trying to figure out how do you choose which, proteins to say yes to and whatnot. So there's not going to be meats included on WIC voucher for what that is. That being said, on food stamp side of things, or what they call SNAP, that's absolutely something that they can use to get meat through and with, along with all of those other great things as well. So I think that there's obviously room to try and grow that and make that an opportunity. It's not there yet, but there's good programs out there to try and give more access to everyone, regardless of what farmers they know or what they can afford.
If, let's say, we were going to decide to open a meat processing business, what kind of advice could you give us as starting out? I mean, you didn't even expect to do this. A lot of people think it's impossible to be able to do something like this.
Yes. Ooh, $1 million question, literally. So the advice we were given heading into this, one of the things we were advised to actually go visit other meat processing plants, and we did. So I went to, the Mizzou one that we lived in there in Columbia that was unique because they actually are partnered with the college. So we toured, we asked a bunch of questions. We looked at the retail side of it and the slaughter side of it. And we went to another place that was about 20 minutes out, and it was a smaller custom operation. He's still somebody that is so fun. We get to see at conferences all the time, and he remembers us. And I'm not even kidding. I think our kid was maybe 2 at the time, and we walked him right back there with us on the slaughter floor. And it was kind of one of those like, can we handle it? And can this be an environment that our kids can handle and run into and be raised with? So visiting other places, talking with those owners, as well as their employees, and just asking them why they got started, how they got started, what's life look like for them now. Because expectations and reality are everything, to truly see that. And even doing that, I can't say that that's always going to speak to how I feel like the reality and expectations are when you're in it. But learning from people is huge. And I would always advise somebody, especially if they did not grow up in it, the time that we had as employees, priceless. Actually getting to see it from the ground up. I mean, I think about those undercover boss shows. This was that in reverse for us. And it was great. Like, you truly got to see as an employee, like how that view was from the bottom up of the little things, like just cleaning the floors daily and what it is to load 50-pound boxes of hamburger into somebody's vehicle, talking on the phone for the first time and creating customer service experiences. That was invaluable to learn that from the ground up. But I will say, having even more knowledge and experience on the business side of things is definitely an area that I would have loved to have had even more experience in. I wish they had some type of program that talked you through, the financials and just what to expect on running a company and being a leader to people who rely on you daily, right? Because that's the tough part that's hard to teach, and it's hard to get experience on without really being in those shoes. But that's probably one of the most important parts to grow and sustain your place at the end of the day.
So how difficult is it to get USDA versus state? So you came into this as state and you transferred to USDA.
Added, not transferred.
Added. Yeah.
Yeah. So the place actually started as custom exempt. And then that grant, how I got to know Dave with, was a part of the process that we used to go state inspected. That was actually what the grant was all about, was upgrading equipment or expansion purposes as needed to get more state plants in the state of Missouri to allow that growth and expansion on the agriculture side of things for farmers to resell. So we went into state inspection, I believe it was the fall of 22. And then we've been working towards federal inspection because we're so close to that Kansas state line. And we had a couple farmers that were in the Iowa, Nebraska area that wanted that opportunity to grow and expand in that realm. So there's a lot of paperwork involved. There's definitely a lot of self-training and education that I had to get to. And it's not just me either at the end of the day. This is a team effort. Paperwork is everything. And so making sure that everybody's fully aware of properly documenting things, having record. A huge thing when it comes to federal inspection as well is humane handling and slaughter. That's not everybody's favorite part to talk about when they talk about wanting to get meat, right? You don't want to know necessarily that part that goes on. It's the messy part, it's the dirty part. But at the same time, I say the messy, dirty part. It's what we have to do the most clean and the most safe and effective for both our team and the animals. And that's such a big part of the federal inspection. You have to have an inspector there every day of slaughter to make sure everything goes off without a hitch, and or because hitches are going to happen at some point, that it was appropriate and it was in a way that did the best that it could for the animal and the safety of our team. So little insight into what that's looked like for federal inspection.
Did you find, having the technical assistance program was effective for what you had to do?
Technical assistance as in
Grant,
Well,
in that.
with Flower Hill and Dave Carter, what they did.
Yes, and I'll be totally transparent with that. So that was a grant that the previous owner started and implemented. I was led in behind the curtain a little bit, but there was little that I played into that initial custom to state inspection process. I got into the understanding of the paperwork that went involved, but from everything I heard and understood from, Trina and working with Dave and the grant program, they did awesome and obviously paved a way for us and I think a handful of other places across Missouri to get to that next level inspection. So it's been very, very helpful. And that obviously paved the way for us to, I don't know if easy is the right word, but more feasibly get to the federal inspection that we were able to do this year.
Is there anything else that we didn't touch upon that we maybe did last time, or anything you want to say in regards to Clark's and your experience? This is your baby. What you're doing here?
This whole team aspect has been huge to us, right? Like we would have never made it through and done what we've done so far on our own. Honestly, at the same time, we were never intended to do any of this alone. It's a team effort every single day. It's been so rewarding to make the friendships that we've had, amongst our team and the farmers because of the fact that we expect such great things out of each other. And we all understand that working hard is a non-negotiable to accomplish what we're doing every day. And when you're doing stuff that's a little dirtier and really hard, we do our best to, just encourage and have fun and bring people up. After we won our little best, elote Mexican street corn brat, we threw a fiesta party, and just had so much fun as a team celebrating that win and reminding each other, even through the hard days and the hard times, having each other walk through it together, so worth it. And it's been a blast building that team environment and team spirit to keep everybody performing so well and at such a great level with each other.
Well, I think that, like you said, it takes understanding it and it being modeled for you. And it sounds like you've carried that culture throughout the entirety of it. And it sounds like if there's a gal working with you that is super happy about some mac and cheese she got to make, then it's a good environment. Yep. But we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us and share us a slice of your life with, everybody listening.
No, and I can't thank you guys enough. I told Dave I was beyond humbled and honored that you guys even reached out and threw my name in the hat. And it's very, very, very grateful to have the opportunity. So thank you.
Well, it's an interesting story. I mean, you guys had no background in this, and here you are. and it seems to be a success so far. So, and probably will be.
That is the goal. Yep.
I hope you guys enjoyed that podcast. Tune in to us every Wednesday for the rest of October to meet another female meat producer who is making a difference. And of course, if you guys have any questions about what you can do to qualify for grants, what you would have to do to be able to open a meat processing facility, even if it's a small one on your farm, even if it's a mobile one, whatever it is that you have in your mind that you want to do to help expand your business, please do reach out to Dave Carter and Chris Roper with the Flower Hill Institute. These guys have years of experience in technical assistance and just the meat industry in general, and they can help you figure out a path forward, and they do remarkable work. There've been a lot of processing plants across the country that have opened up, small ones, but they're opening up access for farmers to be able to bring their products directly to the consumers, which is helping everybody. So if you are somebody who is thinking about this and you'd like to take this step forward, definitely contact them. They are the experts in the field.